The abyss is one of the most evocative and enigmatic symbols in philosophy. It represents a mysterious and unfathomable void, a vast expanse where the boundaries of human understanding dissolve into the unknown. For Friedrich Nietzsche, the abyss is a crucible of transformation, a space where the sharp light of human consciousness meets the impenetrable shadows of mystery. It is both a threshold and a mirror, challenging us to confront the limits of our knowledge, the fragility of our beliefs, and the chaos within ourselves. Nietzsche's concept of the abyss is not merely a poetic metaphor. It is a profound exploration of the human condition. It encapsulates the tension between the comprehensible and the unknowable, the comforting illusions we cling to, and the stark truths we often avoid. But the abyss is more than a source of fear. It is a proving ground for the soul. Within its depths lies the potential for destruction and creation, despair and transcendence. To understand the psychology of the abyss is to embark on a journey into the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy. It is a journey into the void, where we confront not only the unknown, but also ourselves. In Nietzsche's thought, the abyss serves as a confrontation with the limits of human existence. It is where all assumptions about reality, morality, and purpose are stripped bare. Standing on the edge of the abyss forces us to confront our finitude, the undeniable fact that much of existence lies beyond our comprehension. This idea challenges the very foundations of Western thought. For centuries, humanity has sought to impose order on the chaos of the world through religion, science, and philosophy. These systems, while comforting, are ultimately human constructs, attempts to fill the void of the abyss with meaning. Nietzsche argued that these constructs, no matter how intricate, could never fully encapsulate the vastness of existence. To face the abyss is to let go of these constructs and accept the unknown. This is not an easy task. The human mind craves certainty, and the abyss offers none. Instead, it reveals the fragility of our certainties and demands that we confront the terrifying possibility that life, at its core, may lack inherent purpose. Nietzsche's famous aphorism, "And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you," encapsulates the psychological weight of this confrontation. The abyss does not simply exist as an external void. It interacts with us, reflecting our deepest fears, doubts, and insecurities. What does it mean for the abyss to gaze back? It means that the process of confronting the unknown is also a process of self-discovery. The abyss reveals not only the limits of the world, but also the limits within ourselves. It holds up a mirror to our inner chaos, exposing the unresolved tensions and contradictions that define us. This interaction is transformative but dangerous. To stare too long into the abyss without sufficient inner strength risks succumbing to despair or nihilism. Nietzsche understood this risk well, cautioning that those who lose themselves in the void may be overwhelmed by its magnitude. Nihilism, the belief that life lacks objective meaning, purpose, or value, is a central concern in Nietzsche's philosophy. He saw nihilism as both a consequence of and a response to the abyss. When traditional sources of meaning collapse, whether through the death of God or the failure of metaphysical systems, the abyss looms large, tempting us to conclude that nothing matters. For Nietzsche, nihilism was a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it represents a crisis, a state of existential despair that can paralyze individuals and societies. On the other hand, it is a necessary stage in the process of self-overcoming. Only by confronting the abyss and facing the void of nihilism can we begin to create new values and meanings. This is the essence of Nietzsche's challenge: to resist the pull of nihilism and use the abyss as a catalyst for transformation. The abyss is not a final destination, but a gateway to something greater. While the abyss is often associated with fear and despair, Nietzsche also saw it as a space of immense creative potential. By dismantling old systems of meaning, the abyss clears the way for new possibilities. It is a blank canvas on which we can paint the values and purposes that resonate with our authentic selves. This act of creation is central to Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, Overman. The Overman is someone who has faced the abyss, transcended nihilism, and emerged as a creator of values. They do not cling to the illusions of the past or succumb to the despair of meaninglessness. Instead, they embrace the chaos of the abyss and use it as a source of strength and inspiration. For Nietzsche, this creative process is not about imposing order on the chaos of existence, but about learning to dance with it. The Overman does not seek to escape the abyss. They revel in its freedom, using it as a stage for self-expression and growth. The concept of the abyss is not confined to abstract philosophy. It manifests in everyday life. Every time we question the purpose of our existence, wrestle with uncertainty, or face moments of profound loss, we encounter the abyss. It is present in the existential crises that define the human experience. From the search for meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe to the struggle to reconcile our aspirations with the reality of our limitations. Without risking your actual sanity, you can experience a digital approximation in the indie game Fear and Hunger. This game plunges players into a grim, merciless world where survival feels like a cruel joke and hope is a fleeting illusion. Much like Nietzsche's abyss, Fear and Hunger challenges you to face despair head-on, stripping away any illusions of control or comfort. You'll find yourself grappling with impossible choices, a suffocating sense of dread, and quite possibly the thought, why am I even playing this? But isn't that the point? The abyss doesn't exist to make you comfortable. It exists to make you question, to break you down so that you can, maybe, just maybe, emerge stronger. Or, give up and uninstall the game in frustration. Your choice. In the modern world, the abyss takes on new forms. The rapid pace of change, the erosion of traditional structures, and the constant barrage of information challenge our ability to find stability and purpose. Social media, for example, creates a digital abyss, reflecting and amplifying our insecurities while offering an endless stream of distractions. To navigate these modern abysses, we must draw on the courage and resilience that Nietzsche championed. The psychology of the abyss is not about avoiding discomfort, but about embracing it as a path to growth and self-discovery. At the heart of Nietzsche's vision for overcoming nihilism is the will to power. This concept is often misunderstood as a crude desire for dominance, but Nietzsche's interpretation is far more nuanced. The will to power is the drive to grow, to overcome obstacles, and to assert one's creative energy in the face of adversity. Think of it this way. While nihilism whispers, "Why bother?" the will to power shouts back, "Because I can." It's the force that propels us to confront the abyss, not with despair, but with determination. For the Overman, the will to power is not about controlling others or amassing wealth. It's about mastering oneself and transforming life's chaos into something meaningful. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth. Every failure, a stepping stone to self-overcoming. If you thought Nietzsche's abyss was unsettling, wait until you meet his next big idea, eternal recurrence. Imagine this: every single moment of your life, every triumph, every failure, every awkward silence during a Zoom meeting will repeat infinitely. Yes, you heard that right. Nietzsche suggests that the universe, in all its chaotic glory, loops endlessly, replaying every detail of existence over and over again. Now, before you start panicking about reliving that one cringeworthy high school moment for eternity, let's unpack this. Eternal recurrence isn't just some metaphysical horror story. For Nietzsche, it's the ultimate test of your ability to affirm life. Eternal recurrence challenges you to confront your life with brutal honesty. Nietzsche asks, if you had to live this exact life, with all its pain and joy, forever, would you embrace it? If the answer is no, well, Nietzsche would probably say, you've got some work to do. The idea isn't about achieving perfection, but about finding the strength to affirm life exactly as it is, with all its messiness and unpredictability. Think of eternal recurrence as Nietzsche's existential pop quiz. It forces you to evaluate your values and actions. Are you living authentically? Are you embracing life's chaos, or are you running from it? If the thought of repeating your life fills you with dread, it might be time to rethink how you're living. The eternal recurrence ties directly into Nietzsche's broader philosophy of life affirmation. He wasn't interested in escapism or utopian fantasies. For Nietzsche, the key to overcoming the abyss is learning to dance with chaos. Yes, life is unpredictable, painful, and often absurd, but that's exactly what makes it worth living. Nietzsche believed that true strength lies in embracing life's hardships, not as obstacles to overcome, but as essential parts of the human experience. This isn't about naive optimism or pretending everything is fine. It's about looking at life's chaos and saying, this too is beautiful. The eternal recurrence forces us to find beauty in every moment, to live in a way that we would willingly repeat forever. Let's face it, the idea of eternal recurrence feels particularly relevant in today's world. Between the endless cycles of bad news, the monotony of daily routines, and the constant pressure to project a perfect life on social media, it's easy to feel like we're stuck in a never-ending loop. But Nietzsche's challenge isn't about breaking the cycle. It's about transforming our relationship with it. The abyss of modern life, whether it's existential dread, burnout, or the existential black hole of a Netflix autoplay feature, is an opportunity to reassess what truly matters. Are you living in alignment with your values? Or are you merely going through the motions? The eternal recurrence doesn't just ask us to endure life. It asks us to love it, flaws and all. If eternal recurrence is the test, then the will to power is the answer key. The will to power, as we've seen, is Nietzsche's driving force behind growth and creativity. It's what allows us to confront the abyss, affirm life, and transform despair into meaning. Under the lens of eternal recurrence, the will to power takes on a new dimension. It's not just about creating values or overcoming obstacles. It's about living with such intensity and authenticity that you would gladly relive every moment of your existence. Think about that for a second. Imagine living so fully, so boldly, that the thought of eternal recurrence feels like a gift, not a curse. That's the level of life affirmation Nietzsche is aiming for. Of course, Nietzsche wasn't all grim proclamations and philosophical heavy lifting. Well, okay, mostly he was. But there's an undercurrent of humor in his work, a recognition that life's absurdity is part of its charm. Eternal recurrence might sound terrifying at first glance, but it's also a reminder not to take life too seriously. If everything you do is going to repeat forever, you might as well enjoy the ride. laugh at the absurdities, embrace the chaos, and find joy in the small, fleeting moments. In this sense, eternal recurrence is both a challenge and a celebration. It dares you to live authentically, but it also encourages you to savor life's unpredictability. If eternal recurrence and the will to power weren't enough, Nietzsche throws another philosophical curveball into the mix: morality. Or rather, his outright rejection of traditional morality. For Nietzsche, morality wasn't a solid bridge to help us navigate the abyss. It was more like a chain keeping us from ever stepping into it. Western morality, rooted in Christianity and centuries of dogma, offered humanity a neat package of right and wrong, good and evil, and salvation for the compliant. But Nietzsche saw this as a problem. Morality, he argued, was a tool for controlling the masses, stifling individuality, and avoiding the chaos of the abyss. In other words, morality wasn't about truth, it was about comfort. And comfort, Nietzsche believed, was the enemy of growth. To understand Nietzsche's critique of morality, we need to dive into his distinction between master morality and slave morality. Master morality is the morality of the strong, the creators, the ones who affirm life on their own terms. It values qualities like strength, ambition, and creativity. Masters don't need the approval of others to define their values. They create their own. Slave morality, on the other hand, is the morality of the weak, those who feel oppressed by life's challenges and resentful of the strong. It values qualities like humility, obedience, and self-sacrifice, often flipping the master's values on their head. Nietzsche saw Christianity as the ultimate embodiment of slave morality, celebrating suffering and submission while vilifying power and pride. Here's the kicker. Nietzsche wasn't just calling out religion. He was calling out humanity's tendency to cling to moral systems that shield us from the abyss. Slave morality, he argued, was a way of avoiding responsibility, of outsourcing our values to an external authority, instead of confronting the void and creating our own. In Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche pushes us to move beyond binary moral distinctions. Good and evil, he argued, are human constructs, not universal truths. They're tools used by societies to impose order on chaos, but they have no basis in the abyss. By clinging to these constructs, Nietzsche believed we limit ourselves. The abyss demands freedom, the freedom to question, to challenge, and to redefine what it means to live a meaningful life. Traditional morality, with its rigid rules and eternal consequences, is like a safety net that keeps us from taking the plunge. But Nietzsche wasn't advocating for anarchy or moral relativism. He wasn't saying, "Hey, throw out all your values and do whatever you want." Instead, he was challenging us to create values that come from within, values that reflect our individuality and strength rather than societal expectations. This freedom sounds exhilarating, but let's be honest, it's also terrifying. Traditional morality, for all its flaws, provides structure and stability. It gives us a roadmap for navigating life, even if the map is outdated and full of inaccuracies. The abyss, by contrast, offers no roadmap. It demands that we forge our own path, guided only by our will to power and our ability to affirm life. This is why Nietzsche's philosophy isn't for the faint of heart. It requires courage, creativity, and an unflinching willingness to confront uncertainty. But Nietzsche believed this freedom was worth the risk. To live authentically, to create values that resonate with our true selves, is to embrace the chaos of the abyss and transform it into something meaningful. Fast forward to today, and Nietzsche's critique of morality feels more relevant than ever. While overt religious dogma may no longer dominate in many parts of the world, new forms of moral absolutism have emerged. Political ideologies, social norms, and even online cancel culture often serve as modern versions of slave morality, dictating what we should think, say, and do. Social media, in particular, amplifies this phenomenon. The pressure to conform to collective values, to seek validation through likes and shares, is a digital echo of the moral chains Nietzsche railed against. Instead of confronting the abyss, many of us retreat into the safety of societal approval, avoiding the discomfort of questioning our beliefs. But Nietzsche would challenge us to do exactly that, to question, to disrupt, and to create. The abyss isn't something to fear. It's an opportunity to break free from the moral systems that no longer serve us, and to forge new paths in the chaos. Of course, Nietzsche didn't approach morality with a grim seriousness. Well, okay, sometimes he did, but there's an inherent irony in his critique, a recognition that morality's grand claims often crumble under scrutiny. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher. He was also a bit of a provocateur, poking holes in humanity's most cherished beliefs with a sardonic smirk. Think of his critique of morality as an invitation to laugh at our own contradictions. We cling to systems of right and wrong, yet we're constantly bending the rules to suit our own needs. We claim to value freedom, yet we submit to moral systems that stifle it. Nietzsche's abyss asks us to see these contradictions for what they are and to embrace the absurdity of it all. Nietzsche's critique of morality isn't a rejection of values, but a call to action. He challenges us to move beyond inherited beliefs and create our own, to step into the abyss and confront the freedom it offers. Yes, it's a daunting task, but it's also liberating. The abyss, with its chaos and uncertainty, is a canvas on which we can paint the values that truly matter to us. By breaking free from the chains of traditional morality, we become creators, shaping our lives in the image of our deepest truths. So the next time you feel the pull of existential dread or the monotony of a life on repeat, remember Nietzsche's challenge. Would you embrace your life exactly as it is for eternity? If the answer is no, perhaps it's time to create a life worth repeating. And if that sounds daunting, don't worry. The abyss will always be there, waiting for you to take the leap.